Victoria Ashford slammed her hand on the table. "You're fired. Get out." Marcus Williams stood there, mop in hand, worn uniform, the entire hotel staff watching. His voice barely a whisper. "Ma'am, my daughter needs her medication tonight. Can I at least get my last paycheck?" Victoria turned her back. "Security will mail it." Marcus walked toward the exit, head down, dignity stripped. Then the sound hit. Rotor blades, thundering, shaking the chandeliers. A U.S. Army Black Hawk dropped into the parking lot. A colonel stepped out. Megaphone raised. "We're here for Master Sergeant Shadow Wolf. We know he's inside." Victoria froze. Marcus stopped walking. The whole lobby went silent. Comment your city below. Let's see how far this story travels. The Grandview Hotel, 6:47 a.m. Marcus Williams pushed his mop across the marble floor. Slow, methodical, invisible. That's how he liked it. Invisible. 38 years old. Single father. Black man, in a white uniform, pushing a yellow bucket through a $400 million hotel where rooms cost more per night than he made in a week. He'd been here 3 years. Never late, never sick, never complained. The other staff called him Ghost. Not because he was quiet. Because he moved like he wasn't there. Like he'd trained himself to disappear. Nobody asked why. Nobody asked anything about Marcus Williams. His supervisor, a nervous man named Gerald, walked up fast, clipboard shaking in his hands. "Marcus, board meeting in the Azure Ballroom. They need the floors spotless in 20 minutes. Marcus nodded. "Already done. Finished at 5. Gerald blinked. 5? That's a 4,000 square foot room. "I know." Gerald stared at him. 3 years and he still couldn't figure this man out. A janitor who worked like a machine, never tired, never slow, never made a mistake. "How do you do that?" Gerald asked. Marcus just shrugged. "Practice." He didn't explain that in his former life he could set up a forward operating base in hostile territory in under 3 hours. Cleaning a ballroom was nothing. Marcus checked his watch. 7:15 a.m. Nia would be waking up soon. His daughter. 9 years old. Bright eyes, bright smile. The only light in his world. She had sickle cell disease. The severe kind. The kind that meant pain crises, hospital visits, medications that cost more than his rent. Every month the same math. Rent, utilities, food, medicine. Medicine always won. Everything else could wait. Marcus pulled out his phone. One text from his neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. "Nia's up. Made her breakfast. She's asking when Daddy's coming home." Marcus typed back, "Tell her I'll be there by 4. Tell her I love her." He put the phone away, squeezed the mop handle. 4 more hours. Then he'd pick up her prescription. Then he'd go home. Then he'd make her favorite dinner spaghetti with extra cheese. Then he'd watch her fall asleep. That was his whole world now. That was enough. 8:30 a.m. The executive floor was buzzing. Victoria Ashford, CEO of Grandview Hospitality Group, stepped out of the elevator. Heels clicking, eyes sharp, jaw tight. 33 years old. Youngest CEO in the company's history, not by choice. Her mother, Eleanor Ashford, built this empire from nothing. 1 hotel became 5. 5 became 20. 20 became a dynasty. Then 6 months ago, Eleanor collapsed in this very lobby. Heart attack. Dead before the ambulance arrived. Victoria inherited everything. The hotels, the board, the doubt. She's too young. She's too emotional. She'll run it into the ground. Victoria heard the whispers, saw the looks, felt the knives waiting for her back. So she became ice. No weakness, no mercy, no mistakes. Her assistant, a young woman named Rachel, hurried beside her. "Ma'am, the board meeting is in 30 minutes. Also, there's been a complaint from the night manager about one of the janitorial staff." Victoria didn't slow down. "What kind of complaint?" "Unauthorized cleaning methods. One of the janitors has been using some kind of industrial technique that's not in our protocol manual. Victoria stopped, turned. Unauthorized? Yes, ma'am. He's been doing it for months, apparently. The night manager finally reported it. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Unauthorized meant unapproved. Unapproved meant liability. Liability meant weakness. Who is it? Rachel checked her tablet. Marcus Williams, third floor janitorial staff. Get him. Marcus was restocking supplies in the utility closet when Gerald found him. Marcus, CEO wants to see you. Now. Marcus straightened. What for? Gerald's face was pale. I don't know, but she doesn't look happy. Marcus followed Gerald through the service corridors. His mind was calm, his heartbeat steady. He'd faced Taliban ambushes with less warning. A hotel CEO didn't scare him. But something in Gerald's voice made him uneasy. Something wrong. They reached the main lobby. Victoria stood near the front desk, Rachel beside her, 3 security guards behind her. The morning shift was arriving. Housekeepers, bellhops, front desk staff, maybe 50 people in the lobby now. Victoria saw Marcus approach. Her eyes locked on him. You're Marcus Williams. Yes, ma'am. You've been using unauthorized cleaning techniques in this hotel. It wasn't a question, it was an accusation. Marcus kept his voice level. I've been using a sanitization method I learned in the military. It's more effective than the standard protocol. Kills 99.9% of bacteria in half the time. It's not in our manual. No, ma'am, because it's better than what's in your manual. The lobby went quiet. Gerald closed his eyes. Oh no. Victoria's jaw tightened. Excuse me. Marcus didn't flinch. Your protocol uses a chlorine-based solution with a 15-minute contact time. My method uses a quaternary ammonium compound with UV activation. 8 minutes. Better coverage. Fewer chemicals. I've been using it in high-traffic areas to reduce contamination risks. Victoria stared at him. Nobody talked to her like this. Nobody. You're telling me you know better than our certified protocols. I'm telling you I've sanitized field hospitals and combat zones. I know what works. Whispers rippled through the staff. Combat zones. The janitor. Victoria felt the eyes on her, felt the doubt, felt the challenge. This man was undermining her, in front of everyone. She couldn't show weakness, couldn't back down, couldn't let a janitor make her look uncertain. Her voice turned cold. Mr. Williams, you don't follow protocol. You don't work here. Marcus felt it coming, saw it in her eyes, the fear disguised as authority. Ma'am, you're fired. Effective immediately. The lobby gasped. Marcus stood still. His hands didn't shake. His expression didn't change. But inside something cracked. Not for himself, for Naya. Her medication. $180. Due today. He had $127 in his account. His voice came out quiet, controlled. Ma'am, I have a daughter. She's sick. Her medication is due tonight. Can I at least get my last paycheck before I go? Victoria heard him. She saw the desperation he was trying to hide. But 50 staff members were watching. The board meeting was in 20 minutes. She couldn't show softness, couldn't show hesitation. Compassion was weakness. Her mother taught her that. Security will mail your final check. Please surrender your badge and leave the premises. Marcus unclipped his badge, handed it to Gerald. Their eyes met for a second. Gerald looked away, ashamed. Marcus turned, walked toward the service exit. 50 people watched him go. Some felt bad. Most stayed silent. Victoria's voice rang out behind him. Let this be a reminder to all staff. Protocol exists for a reason. Deviation will not be tolerated. Marcus pushed through the door. The morning sun hit his face. He stood there, alone, unemployed, unable to afford his daughter's medicine. In his pocket, his phone buzzed. Mrs. Patterson. Nia's asking if you can bring ice cream tonight. She says her chest hurts a little, but she's being brave. Marcus's hands shook. He had failed her. Inside the lobby, the staff dispersed slowly, whispering. Did you see his face, cold as ice? He said he was in the military. You think that's true? Probably just talk, trying to save his job. Gerald stood frozen. He'd worked with Marcus for 3 years. The man never bragged, never complained, never talked about himself. But Gerald had noticed things. The way Marcus moved, efficient, precise, like every motion was calculated. The way his eyes scanned rooms, automatically, like he was checking for threats. The old green duffel bag in his locker, faded patches, military insignia scratched off. Gerald had been in the army 30 years ago. Basic training, nothing special. But he recognized the signs. Marcus Williams wasn't just a janitor. Victoria returned to her office. Rachel followed. Ma'am, the board meeting in 15. I know. Victoria sat behind her desk, pulled up the quarterly reports. Her hands were steady, but something nagged at her. Something in the way Marcus had spoken. Confident, calm, like he'd faced worse than her. Field hospitals and combat zones. She opened her laptop, searched Quaternary ammonium UV sanitization military. Results loaded. Her eyes widened. The technique Marcus described was real, developed by U.S. Army Medical Corps for rapid field decontamination. Accuracy rate 99.7%. Time efficiency 47% faster than civilian protocols. She'd fired him for using a superior method. She'd fired him for being better than her manual. Victoria closed the laptop, pushed the feeling down. I made the decision. I stand by it. But the doubt remained. Marcus walked 6 blocks to the pharmacy. His mind was racing. Options. Possibilities. Solutions. He could pawn something. But he'd already pawned everything of value. He could ask Mrs. Patterson for a loan. But she was on fixed income. Social Security barely covered her own bills. He could call his old army contacts. But that would mean explaining, answering questions, reopening doors he'd sealed shut. No. He'd figure it out. He always did. The pharmacy was small, independent. Mr. Okonkwo, the owner, knew Marcus by name. Marcus approached the counter. I'm here for Nia Williams, the hydroxyurea prescription. Mr. Okonkwo typed on his computer. His face fell. Marcus, it's $183.47 with the price increase this month. Price increase. The manufacturer raised it again. I'm sorry, I can't control it. Marcus pulled out his wallet, counted the bills. The coins. $127.34. I'm short. Mr. Okonkwo looked at him with pain in his eyes. Marcus, I wish I could help, but I'm barely keeping this place open. Insurance companies, regulations, the big chains. I understand. Marcus stood there, staring at the money in his hand. Not enough. Behind him, the door chimed. Someone entered. He didn't turn around. Mr. Okonkwo leaned forward, lowered his voice. Listen, I can give you a 3-day sample, enough to get through the weekend. But Monday you need the full prescription. She can't miss doses. Marcus's throat tightened. Thank you. Thank you. He took the sample pack, put his money away, turned to leave. A woman blocked his path. She wore an army dress uniform, colonel's eagles on her shoulders, silver hair pulled back tight. Her eyes were fixed on him. Marcus Williams. He stopped. His whole body went rigid. Master Sergeant. 15 years 7th Special Forces Group. Call sign Shadow Wolf. The pharmacy went silent. Mr. Okonkwo stared. Marcus's voice was ice. You have the wrong man. No, I don't. She stepped closer. Her voice dropped. Operation Desert Serpent. Somalia, 2018. Your team was ambushed in the Juba Valley. 12 men. You carried 3 wounded through 12 miles of hostile territory, evaded enemy patrols for 6 hours, killed 7 insurgents with a knife when your ammunition ran out. Marcus didn't move, didn't breathe. You saved 9 men that night, received the Silver Star, Purple Heart, Army Commendation Medal. That man is dead. Then I'm talking to his ghost. She pulled out a tablet. Because 6 American aid workers are being held hostage in Sudan. They've been captive for 72 hours. 2 rescue attempts have failed. 4 soldiers are dead. She showed him satellite imagery. A compound. Armed guards. Heat signatures. Standard protocols aren't working. Our analysts can't crack the pattern. But you can. I'm a janitor. You're Shadow Wolf, the best reconnaissance specialist the Army has ever produced. And right now, 6 people, including 2 children, are going to die unless someone who knows that terrain can find a way in. Marcus stared at the screen. His trained eye was already working, already analyzing. Guard rotation, 3-hour cycles. Blind spot on the northwest corner. Structural weakness near the generator. He shut it down, pushed the tablet away. I have a daughter. She needs me. I'm not going back. The colonel didn't flinch. One of those hostages is a single mother, Sarah Chen. She's a doctor. She went to Sudan to help refugees. Her daughter is 8 years old. Her name is Lily. Marcus closed his eyes. Lily is waiting at home, just like your daughter, wondering if her mom is coming back. Silence. The colonel continued. I'm not asking you to go to Sudan. I'm asking you to look at the intel. Find something we missed. That's all. Marcus opened his eyes. And if I do? If I find something? Then 6 people come home. Including Sarah. Including the 2 children. Marcus thought of Nia. Waiting at home. Trusting him to come back. Then he thought of Lily. 8 years old. Wondering if she'd ever see her mother again. The same age Nia was when her mother died. The same fear. The same prayers. The same desperate hope. Where's your command center? The colonel almost smiled. We've set up at the Grandview Hotel, conference room. The CEO gave us access. Marcus laughed. A bitter, hollow sound. Of course she did. Victoria was in the board meeting when Rachel burst in. Ma'am, you need to see this. Now. Victoria looked at the board members. 8 faces staring at her. We're in the middle of... Ma'am, the Army is landing a helicopter in our parking lot. The room went silent. Victoria stood, walked to the window. Below, a U.S. Army UH-60 Blackhawk descended through the morning air. Rotor wash scattered debris across the perfectly manicured grounds. Soldiers poured out, armed, tactical gear, setting up a perimeter. A colonel walked toward the hotel entrance, and beside her in his worn janitor uniform walked Marcus Williams. Victoria's blood went cold. What the hell? The board chairman, an old man named Harrison, joined her at the window. That's a special operations transport. I was in the Pentagon for 30 years. I know that insignia. Whoever they're here for, it's not small. Victoria watched Marcus walk through the lobby doors. Head high, shoulders back. He moved different now, not like a janitor, like a soldier. Rachel appeared at the door, face white. Ma'am, the colonel is requesting full access to our Azure conference room. She says it's a matter of national security, and she says... Rachel swallowed. She says they're here for Marcus Williams. The board erupted. The janitor. What does the Army want with a janitor? This is absurd. Victoria said nothing. She just stared out the window. 30 minutes ago, she'd fired Marcus Williams in front of 50 staff members. Called him a protocol violation, a liability. Now the United States Army was landing helicopters for him. Harrison's voice was quiet. Victoria, what did you do? She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. The Azure conference room transformed into a military command center in less than an hour. Satellite feeds, secure communications, armed guards at every entrance. Marcus stood at the center table. The colonel, her name was Colonel Diana Reeves, spread classified documents in front of him. Sudan, Darfur region. The compound is here. She pointed at the map. Held by a militia group called the Red Hands. They took the aid workers 5 days ago, demanding $20 million ransom. Marcus studied the imagery. His mind slipped back into the old patterns. The old training, terrain analysis, threat assessment, ingress and egress routes. You've tried 2 insertions. Yes, both failed. They have early warning systems we can't locate. Our teams get within 2 clicks and the compound goes dark. Hostages moved. Clock resets. Casualties. 4 dead. 7 wounded. Marcus's jaw tightened. Show me the thermal scans. She pulled up the data. Heat signatures bloomed across the screen. Marcus leaned in, eyes scanning, processing. There, he pointed. Northwest corner. The heat signature is wrong. Colonel Reeves frowned. That's just a generator. No, the thermal bloom is too diffuse. A generator that size would produce a concentrated signature. This is dispersed. They're venting heat underground. Underground. Tunnel system. They're moving the hostages through tunnels when they detect incoming aircraft. That's why your teams can't pin them down. Reeves stared at the screen, then at Marcus. Our analysts looked at this for 3 days. Your analysts weren't trained by Master Sergeant Damon Cole. Reeves went quiet. She knew that name. Everyone in Special Forces knew that name. Damon Cole, legend, killed in Somalia. Operation Desert Serpent. Marcus's partner. Marcus's best friend. I'm sorry, Reeves said softly. I know what he meant to you. Marcus didn't respond. His eyes stayed on the screen. The tunnel entrance. It'll be disguised. Natural terrain feature. Cave mouth or dried riverbed. Find that you find the hostages. And if we find it, what then? Marcus traced his finger along the map. Insertion here. 3 clicks east. Night approach through the wadi. Tunnel entrance will have minimal security because they think it's hidden. You want us to go through the tunnel? I want you to collapse it. Reeves blinked. Collapse it. The tunnels are their escape route. Take that away, they're trapped in the compound. Standard assault from the south. They'll have nowhere to run. Reeves studied his face. The certainty. The calm. How do you know this will work? Marcus finally looked at her. Because it's exactly what Damon would have done. Victoria stood outside the conference room, watching through the glass. She saw Marcus commanding the room, saw military officers deferring to him, saw classified documents spread across the table. Rachel appeared beside her. Ma'am, I found his file. His personnel file. His military file. It was sealed, but the colonel's office released a summary. Rachel's hand trembled as she handed over the tablet. Victoria read, Master Sergeant Marcus Williams, enlisted 2006, 7th Special Forces Group, MOS 18B Special Forces Weapons Sergeant, Advanced Reconnaissance and Direct Action Specialist, deployed Afghanistan 4 tours, Iraq 2 tours, Somalia, Niger, Syria. Commendations, Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, Purple Heart 2, Army Commendation Medal 4, Combat Infantryman Badge, Operation Desert Serpent, 2018. Led element through 12 miles of hostile territory under fire. Personally eliminated 7 enemy combatants in close combat. Evacuated 3 wounded personnel. Saved 9 lives. Victoria's hands shook. Note, voluntarily separated from service in 2019 following death of spouse. Single parent to daughter with chronic medical condition. She looked up. Through the glass. Marcus was pointing at something on a screen. The colonel was nodding. Victoria had fired a decorated war hero. A man who saved 9 lives. A man who gave 15 years to his country. She'd fired him for cleaning a floor too well. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. Control everything. Show no weakness. But what if her mother was wrong? What if strength wasn't about control? What if it was about seeing people for who they really were? 3 hours later, the operation was green-lit. Marcus had identified the tunnel network, the structural weakness, the optimal assault vector. Army engineers were already preparing the charges. Colonel Reeves approached him. "Master Sergeant, on behalf of SOCOM, thank you. Your analysis may have just saved 6 lives." Marcus nodded, said nothing. "There's something else." Reeves pulled out an envelope. "Your daughter's medical bills. The Army wants to cover them. Full scholarship to any school of her choice when she's ready." Marcus stared at the envelope. "I didn't do this for money." "I know. That's why you're getting it." She pressed the envelope into his hand. "You served your country for 15 years. You bled for it. You lost friends for it. The least we can do is make sure your daughter doesn't suffer because of it." Marcus's eyes burned. He blinked hard. "She's all I have." "I know." Reeves smiled. "That's why you're such a good father." She turned to leave. Stopped. "One more thing. The CEO, Victoria Ashford. She's been watching through the window for 3 hours." Marcus glanced toward the glass. Victoria was still there, face pale. "What about her?" "I told her everything. About you. About Somalia. About what you sacrificed." Reeves paused. "I think she understands now." Marcus said nothing. "Don't be too hard on her," Reeves added. "She's young. She's scared. She made a mistake. But she's not evil. Just lost." Marcus thought about that. About fear. About the masks people wore. About the ice Victoria wrapped around herself. He recognized it. He'd worn the same armor once. "I'll talk to her," he said. Reeves nodded. "Good, because I think she needs to hear it from you." Victoria was still at the window when Marcus approached. She saw him coming, stiffened, prepared for anger. Accusations. She deserved both. "Mr. Williams, Marcus." "What?" "My name is Marcus. You can use it." She blinked, thrown off. I wanted to apologize. What I did this morning, it was wrong. I didn't know." "You didn't ask?" The words hit her like a slap. "You didn't ask why I used that technique. You didn't ask about my background. You didn't ask about my daughter. You just decided I was a problem and eliminated me." Victoria's throat tightened. "I was trying to maintain control. The board doubts me. The staff questions me. I thought, you thought being hard would make you strong." "Yes." Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then, "I used to think that too." Victoria looked at him. "In the Army, I was hard. I had to be. People's lives depended on it. I couldn't show weakness, couldn't show doubt." His voice softened. "And then my wife died, and I was alone with a 3-year-old daughter. And I realized, being hard wasn't the same as being strong." "What's the difference?" "Hard breaks, strong bends." Victoria felt tears building. She fought them. Lost. "I don't know how to bend. My mother never taught me that. She only taught me to win." "Then she taught you wrong." Victoria laughed, a broken sound. "Everyone keeps saying that, but she built an empire. She's gone, and you're here, and you have to decide what kind of leader you want to be." Silence. Marcus continued. "You can be the woman who fired a single father in front of 50 people for doing his job too well, or you can be someone else, someone better." How? By seeing people, really seeing them, not as problems to solve, as humans, with stories, with struggles, with reasons for why they do what they do. Victoria wiped her eyes. "I don't know if I can." "You can. I've seen hard people change. I've seen killers become healers. I've seen broken men become fathers." He paused. I've seen myself change, and I was harder than you. Victoria looked at him. This man she'd humiliated. This man who had every right to hate her. He was offering grace instead. Why are you helping me? She asked. Because you remind me of someone. Who? Me. Before I learned that the strongest thing you can do is admit you're wrong. That evening, 7:43 p.m., Marcus walked through his apartment door. Nia was on the couch, Mrs. Patterson beside her. Daddy! Nia ran to him, threw her arms around him. He lifted her up, held her tight. Hey, baby girl, how you feeling? Better now that you're home. He kissed her forehead, carried her to the couch. Mrs. Patterson stood. Marcus, I saw the news. They're saying you're some kind of hero. Army helicopters, secret missions. Is it true? Marcus smiled. It's complicated. Well, I always knew you were special. The way you carry yourself, the way you love that child. She gathered her purse. You're a good man, Marcus Williams. Don't let anyone tell you different. She left. Marcus sat with Nia, pulled her close. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Are you a superhero? He laughed. No, sweetheart. I'm just your dad. Mrs. Patterson says you saved people in the army. Is that true? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then, I tried to, a long time ago. Why did you stop? He looked at her. This beautiful girl, his whole world. Because I found something more important to protect. Nia smiled, snuggled against him. Daddy. Yeah. I'm glad you're my superhero, even if you don't wear a cape. Marcus held her tighter, kissed her hair. Me too, baby. Me too. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He checked the message. Master Sergeant. Operation successful. All 6 hostages recovered. 0 casualties. The tunnel collapse worked exactly as you predicted. Sarah Chen is on her way home to her daughter. You saved them, again. Colonel Reeves. Marcus stared at the screen. 6 people. Alive. Going home to their families. Because he remembered. Because he still had it. Because Damon's training never left him. Nia's voice drifted up. Daddy, you okay? He put the phone away, smiled. Yeah, baby. Everything's perfect. Outside, the night settled over the city. And Marcus Williams, the janitor, who was never just a janitor, held his daughter close and breathed. For the first time in years, he felt something he'd forgotten. Peace. The next morning came too fast. Marcus woke at 4:30 a.m., his body still running on military time. 15 years of discipline didn't disappear just because he'd hung up the uniform. He lay still for a moment, listening to Nia's breathing in the next room. Steady, clear, no wheezing. The sample medication was working, but it would only last until Monday. He pushed himself out of bed, splashed water on his face, and stared at the mirror. The man looking back at him seemed older than 38. Gray creeping into his temples. Lines around his eyes that hadn't been there 5 years ago. Somalia did that. Grief did the rest. His phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number again. He answered. Williams. Master Sergeant, this is Colonel Reeves. I wanted to give you an update personally. Marcus leaned against the sink. I'm listening. Sarah Chen landed at Andrews Air Force Base 2 hours ago. She's with her daughter now. The other hostages are being debriefed, but they're all healthy, all safe. Marcus closed his eyes. 6 people. Home. The mission commander wanted me to pass along a message, Reeves continued. He said the tunnel collapse was textbook. Said it was the cleanest extraction he's seen in 20 years. It wasn't me. Your people did the work. Our people followed your plan. There's a difference. Reeves paused. Marcus, I have to ask. Have you thought about coming back? No. The army could use... I said no. Silence on the line. I have a daughter, Colonel. She needs her father alive and present. Not deployed to some desert waiting to catch a bullet. I understand. Do you... Reeves's voice softened. I do. More than you know. I have 2 kids, missed their entire childhoods chasing missions. My son barely knows me. My daughter won't return my calls. She exhaled. You made the right choice, Marcus. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Marcus didn't respond. One more thing, Reeves said. Victoria Ashford. She's been calling my office since last night. Wants to speak with you. Says it's urgent. I don't work for her anymore. Maybe that's what she wants to change. Marcus ended the call without answering. He didn't want his job back. He didn't want Victoria's guilt or her apologies. He wanted to make his daughter breakfast, take her to school, and figure out how to pay for her medication by Monday. That was enough. That had to be enough. But as he cracked eggs into a pan, Damon's voice echoed in his memory. The same thing Damon said the night before Somalia. You can run from the war, brother, but the war don't run from you. Marcus pushed the thought away, focused on the eggs, on the bacon, on Nia's footsteps padding down the hall. Daddy? You're making breakfast. She ran to him, wrapped her arms around his waist. He lifted her onto the counter, kissed her forehead. Scrambled or sunny. Scrambled with cheese. You got it, princess. She watched him cook, swinging her legs. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Mrs. Patterson said you used to fly helicopters. Is that true? Marcus kept his eyes on the pan. Sometimes. Was it scary? He thought about it. The night missions, the tracer fire lighting up the darkness, the sound of metal tearing through metal. Sometimes, he said again. But you did it anyway. I did. Why? Marcus turned to face her. His daughter, 9 years old, eyes full of questions. Because there were people who needed help, and I could help them. Like a superhero. He smiled. Not like a superhero. Superheroes don't get scared. I was scared all the time. Nia tilted her head. Then why did you do it? Because being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you're scared and you do it anyway. She processed this. Then, Daddy. Yeah. I'm scared sometimes. About being sick. About going to the hospital. Marcus set down the spatula. Took her hands. I know, baby. I know. But I try to be brave. Like you. His throat tightened. You're the bravest person I know, Nia. You know that. She smiled. That smile that could light up any darkness. I know, Daddy. You tell me every day. He pulled her into a hug. Held her tight. This was why he left. This was why he walked away from everything. For moments like this. For her. Nothing else mattered. The knock on the door came at 7:15 a.m. Marcus tensed. Old instincts kicking in. Nobody knocked on his door this early. Nobody except trouble. Nia, go to your room. But Daddy? Now, baby, take your breakfast with you. She grabbed her plate, disappeared down the hall. Marcus approached the door, checked the peephole. Victoria Ashford stood in the hallway. Alone. No security. No assistant. She looked different. The ice was gone. Something else in its place. He opened the door. Mr. Williams, Marcus, How did you find my address? Colonel Reeves. Marcus made a mental note to have words with Reeves later. What do you want? Victoria took a breath. Can I come in? Please. He didn't move. Didn't open the door wider. 5 minutes, she said. That's all I'm asking. Then I'll leave. I promise. Something in her voice. Desperation. Real raw desperation. Marcus stepped aside. Victoria entered, looked around. Took in the small apartment, the worn furniture, the medical bills on the counter, the crayon drawings on the refrigerator. This is where you live. This is where I raise my daughter. She flinched at the correction. Marcus, I came to apologize. What I did yesterday, you already apologized. At the hotel. That wasn't enough. She turned to face him. I've been up all night, reading about Operation Desert Serpent, about what you did. About what you lost. Marcus's jaw tightened. That's classified. Colonel Reeves gave me a summary. Enough to understand. Victoria's voice cracked. You carried 3 wounded men through 12 miles of enemy territory. You killed 7 people with a knife to protect your team. You held your best friend while he died. Stop. And then you came home, alone. Your wife had just passed. Your daughter was 3 years old, and instead of falling apart, you held it together. For her. I said stop. You took a janitor job because it let you be home by 4 every day. Because you could pick her up from school, because you could make her dinner and help with her homework, and be there when she woke up from nightmares. Marcus's hands were shaking now. What's your point? Victoria stepped closer, her eyes wet. My point is that I fired a hero. I humiliated a man who deserved a medal, not a termination, and I did it because I was scared and stupid and so obsessed with control that I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Silence. I can't undo what I did, she continued. I can't take back those words. I can't erase the way everyone looked at you when you walked out. Her voice broke. But I can try to make it right. If you'll let me. Marcus studied her face, looking for the lie, the angle, the manipulation. He found nothing but pain. What are you offering? Victoria pulled an envelope from her purse, handed it to him. Director of Security Operations. Salary of $175,000 per year. Full benefits. Medical coverage for Naya including specialists and medications. Housing allowance. Company car. Marcus stared at the envelope, didn't take it. This is guilt money. No, this is justice. Victoria pressed the envelope into his hand. Colonel Reeves showed me your technique, the sanitization method. She also showed me your service record, your tactical assessments, your mission reports. And you're overqualified to mop floors, Marcus. You're overqualified for almost anything. But security operations, threat assessment, risk management. That's what you were born to do. Marcus looked at the envelope, then at Victoria. Why do you care? You have a board to answer to, a company to run. Why does one janitor matter? Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Then, because my mother died 6 months ago, and I've been trying to be her ever since. Cold, controlled, perfect. She wiped her eyes. But my mother was miserable. She drove away everyone who loved her. She died alone in a hotel lobby surrounded by strangers. Marcus said nothing. I don't want to be her. I don't want to end up like that. And when I watched you yesterday, when I saw the way you handled the mission briefing, the way you commanded respect without demanding it. She shook her head. I realized that's what real leadership looks like. Not control, connection. A door creaked. They both turned. Naya stood in the hallway, plate empty, watching. Daddy, is this the pretty lady? Marcus sighed. I told you to stay in your room. I finished my eggs. Naya walked closer, studying Victoria. You're the one who made Daddy sad yesterday. Victoria knelt down, eye level with the girl. Yes, I am. And I'm very sorry. Nia considered this. Are you going to make him sad again? No, I'm going to try to make things better. Promise. Victoria looked at Marcus, then back at Nia. I promise. Naya extended her pinky. Pinky promise. That's the strongest kind. Victoria smiled, linked her pinky with Nia's. Pinky promise. Nia turned to Marcus. Daddy, I think she means it. Marcus looked at his daughter. This girl who could see through anyone. Who inherited her mother's intuition and her father's stubbornness. You think so? Yeah. Her eyes are wet. People don't fake wet eyes. Victoria laughed. A real laugh. Surprised. She's something else, Victoria said. She's everything, Marcus replied. He looked at the envelope in his hand, at Victoria on her knees, at his daughter watching with those knowing eyes. I need to think about it. Victoria stood. Take all the time you need. And if I say no, Then I'll find another way to make it right, whatever it takes. She walked toward the door, stopped. Marcus? Yeah, for what it's worth. She turned. I think Nia's lucky to have you, and I think you're brave for choosing her over everything else. She left. Nia tugged Marcus's hand. Daddy, what's in the envelope? A job offer. A good one? Marcus looked at the numbers on the paper, at the benefits package, at the words that could change everything. Maybe, baby, maybe. Later that morning, Marcus sat at the kitchen table, the envelope open, the contract spread before him. Mrs. Patterson had taken Nia to school. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. His mind kept drifting, to Somalia, to Damon, to the night everything changed. They'd been brothers, him and Damon, not by blood, by something stronger. War made bonds that civilians couldn't understand. You bled together, killed together, watched friends die together, that created something unbreakable. Damon was the best soldier Marcus had ever known. Fearless. Brilliant. The kind of man who could read a battlefield like a book and find the one page that mattered. They'd served together for 8 years. 4 tours. Dozens of missions. Never lost a man under their command. Until Somalia. The ambush came at 0347. They were extracting a CIA asset from a safe house in the Juba Valley. 12 men. 3 vehicles. Standard operation. Nothing was standard about what happened next. RPG hit the lead vehicle. Then the second. Then chaos. Marcus remembered the screams. The gunfire. The way the darkness lit up like daylight with every explosion. He remembered carrying 2 wounded operators through the riverbed while Damon provided cover fire. Remembered the moment Damon's voice came through the radio. Shadow Wolf, I'm hit. Keep moving. Marcus had gone back, against orders, against sanity. He found Damon behind a burned-out truck. 3 bullets in his chest. Still firing his rifle. Still fighting. You stupid son of a bitch! Damon had said, blood bubbling from his lips. I told you to keep moving. I don't take orders from dying men. Marcus had lifted him, carried him 300 meters to the extraction point. But they were pinned down. No air support. No backup. That's when Marcus did what he was trained to do, what Damon had taught him. He went hunting. 7 enemy fighters stood between them and survival. Marcus killed all 7 in 11 minutes. Knife work. Close quarters. Silent. When the rescue bird finally arrived, Marcus was the only one standing. Damon was gone. So were Corporal Rivera and Sergeant Chen. But 9 men went home. 9 men lived because Marcus Williams refused to accept the impossible. He never flew again. He never wanted to. The medal ceremony was a blur. Handshakes he didn't remember. Words that meant nothing. They gave him a silver star for conspicuous gallantry in action. He gave it to Damon's mother. Told her Damon had earned it. 3 months later, Keisha, his wife, collapsed in their living room. Undiagnosed aneurysm. Dead before the paramedics arrived. Naya was 3 years old, standing in the doorway, watching her mother die. Marcus held his daughter that night and made a decision. No more missions. No more war. No more darkness. He would give Naya the life he never had, stable, safe, present, even if it meant mopping floors for the rest of his days. His phone rang, pulled him back to the present. Williams. Marcus, it's Gerald, from the hotel. Marcus frowned. Gerald. I know you don't work here anymore, but Gerald's voice was shaking. Something's happening. The staff, they're all talking. About what you did. About the army. I didn't do anything. That's not what they're saying. Frank, the old maintenance guy, he found your file. The one Colonel Reeves left behind. He's been showing everyone. Marcus's stomach dropped. What file? Your service record. The medals. Everything. Gerald paused. Marcus people are demanding that Victoria bring you back. Some are threatening to quit if she doesn't. The union's getting involved. That's not what I wanted. I know, but you should know something else. Victoria called an emergency board meeting this morning. She's fighting for you, Marcus. Really fighting. Marcus was silent. Whatever happened between you two, Gerald continued. She's different today. I've never seen her like this. She actually apologized to the morning shift. Apologized. In front of everyone. What did she say? She said she was wrong, that she fired a hero, that she let fear make her cruel. Gerald's voice softened. And then she said she was going to fix it, even if the board fired her for trying. Marcus looked at the contract on the table. Marcus, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. Are you going to take the job? Marcus thought about Nia, about the medication, about the medical bills stacked on the counter. He thought about Damon, about what his brother would say if he could see him now. I don't know yet, Marcus said, but I'm thinking about it. He hung up. The apartment was still quiet, still empty, but something had shifted. For 5 years, Marcus had been hiding. From the army. From his past. From the man he used to be. But you couldn't hide forever. The war always found you. Maybe it was time to stop running. Maybe it was time to find a new battle worth fighting. His phone buzzed. Text from Mrs. Patterson. Nia's school called. She had a breathing episode during PE. I'm bringing her home. Marcus grabbed his keys. Everything else could wait. His daughter needed him. He was out the door in 30 seconds. At the school, Nia sat in the nurse's office, pale, exhausted, but smiling when she saw him. Daddy. He knelt beside her, checked her breathing, checked her color. You okay, baby? I just got tired. We were running and I couldn't keep up. The school nurse, a kind woman named Mrs. Rivera, approached. She's stable now, but her teacher said this is the 3rd episode this month. Has she been taking her medication? Marcus's jaw tightened. She has. But we've been on a sample pack. Running low. Mrs. Rivera's face shifted. Understanding. Sympathy. Mr. Williams, I don't want to overstep, but... She lowered her voice. There are assistance programs for families who need help with medication costs. I'm handling it. I know you are. But sometimes handling it means accepting help. Marcus looked at his daughter. Pale but smiling. Brave but tired. He'd been so focused on doing everything alone, on proving he didn't need anyone, on being strong for her. But what if being strong meant knowing when to accept help? Thank you, he said quietly. I'll look into it. He carried Nia to the car, buckled her in. Daddy. Yeah, baby? Am I going to be okay? He turned to face her, took her hand. You're going to be fine, I promise. Pinky promise. He linked his pinky with hers. Pinky promise, the strongest kind. She smiled, closed her eyes. He started the car. On the drive home, his phone rang. Unknown number. He let it go to voicemail. The message came through a minute later. Victoria's voice. Marcus, it's Victoria. The board meeting is over. They approved the position, full package, everything I promised. She paused. But I want you to know something. If you say no, I understand. You don't owe me anything. You don't owe this company anything. Another pause. But if you're willing, if you can forgive what I did, I think we could build something good together. Something real. Her voice cracked. I'm trying to be better, Marcus. I'm trying to see people the way you do. It's hard, but I'm trying. The message ended. Marcus looked at Nia in the rear-view mirror. Asleep now. Peaceful. He thought about the contract, the salary, the benefits, the medical coverage. He thought about what it would mean for Nia. Specialists, better medications, a future without fear. And he thought about Victoria, about the ice melting, about the woman underneath. Maybe people could change. Maybe second chances were worth giving. Maybe the war wasn't over, just different now. He pulled into the apartment parking lot, sat there for a moment. Then he picked up his phone, dialed. "Victoria, it's Marcus." "Marcus, did you get my message?" "I did." Silence. "I have conditions," he said. "Name them." "First, I leave by 4 every day. No exceptions. My daughter needs me home." "Done." "Second, I build my own team. No interference from the board." "Done." "Third, you treat every employee the way you treated me today. No more public firings. No more humiliation." Victoria was quiet for a moment. "Done," she said finally. "What else?" Marcus took a breath. "One more thing. Anything. This isn't about gratitude. It's not about guilt. If I take this job, it's because I believe you're going to be different, better. I understand. If you prove me wrong, if you go back to who you were, I walk. No discussion." "Fair. Then I'll see you Monday morning." He heard her exhale. Relief. "Thank you, Marcus. You won't regret this." "Don't make me regret it." He hung up. In the back seat, Nia stirred. "Daddy, are we home?" "Yeah, baby, we're home." He carried her inside, laid her on the couch, covered her with a blanket. She looked up at him with sleepy eyes. "Daddy, you look different." "Different how?" She thought about it. Lighter, like something heavy went away. Marcus smiled, kissed her forehead. "Maybe it did, baby. Maybe it did." He sat beside her, watched her drift back to sleep. Outside, the sun was setting, golden light through the curtains. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new battles, new chances to fail or succeed. But tonight, he had everything he needed. His daughter, his purpose, his peace, and maybe, just maybe, a future worth fighting for. Monday morning arrived like a reckoning. Marcus stood in front of the mirror, buttoning a shirt he hadn't worn in years. White, pressed, professional. Nia had picked it out the night before, said it made him look like a boss. He didn't feel like a boss. He felt like a soldier walking into unknown territory without a map. "Daddy, you look so handsome." Nia bounced into the room already dressed for school. Her energy was back. The medication was working, the real medication this time, not samples. Victoria had expedited the benefits package. Full coverage started Friday. Marcus knelt down, adjusted Nia's backpack straps. "You ready for school? Are you ready for your new job?" He smiled. "Honestly, no." "That's okay. You told me being brave means doing it even when you're scared. When did you get so smart?" "I learned from you, Daddy." He pulled her into a hug, held on longer than usual. "Mrs. Patterson will pick you up at 3. I'll be home by 4:30. Promise?" "Promise." The drive to the Grandview took 20 minutes. Marcus parked in the employee lot, same spot he'd used for 3 years. But everything felt different now. The uniform was different. The access badge was different. The weight on his shoulders was different. He walked through the service entrance out of habit, then stopped himself, turned around, walked through the main lobby instead. 50 employees watched him pass. Some whispered, some stared. A few nodded with something like respect. Gerald intercepted him near the elevators. "Marcus, you actually came. Did you think I wouldn't?" "Honestly, I wasn't sure." Gerald lowered his voice. "Listen, there's something you should know. Not everyone's happy about this." "Who?" "Harrison, the board chairman. He's been making calls all weekend. Says Victoria overstepped. Says promoting a janitor to director makes the company look desperate." Marcus felt the familiar tension in his shoulders, the instinct to assess threats, to plan responses. "What's he going to do about it?" "I don't know yet, but watch your back." The elevator doors opened. Victoria stood inside, alone. "Marcus, good morning." "Ms. Ashford." "Victoria, please." She gestured for him to enter. Gerald stepped back, disappeared into the lobby. The doors closed. "You heard about Harrison?" Victoria said. It wasn't a question. "Word travels fast. He's going to challenge you. Today, in front of the senior staff." Marcus looked at her. "And you're telling me this because I want you prepared. Because I want you to know I'm on your side." She paused. "And because Harrison has been trying to force me out since the day my mother died. This isn't about you. It's about power. Everything's about power. Not everything." The elevator stopped. Doors opened. "Some things are about doing what's right." They walked together toward the executive conference room. Marcus could feel eyes on him from every direction. Curious, skeptical, waiting to see if he would fail. Inside, 12 senior staff members sat around a polished table. Department heads, vice presidents, people who'd built careers in hospitality while Marcus was crawling through deserts. Harrison sat at the far end, 72 years old, silver hair, cold eyes, the kind of man who measured worth in titles and pedigrees. "Ah, Mr. Williams." Harrison's voice dripped with false warmth. "Our new director of security operations. Please have a seat." Marcus sat, didn't speak. Let the silence do its work. Victoria took her place at the head of the table. "Thank you all for coming. As you know, we've created a new position within the company. Marcus Williams will be overseeing all security operations, threat assessment, and risk management across our properties." A woman to Marcus's left, VP of Human Resources, according to her nameplate, raised her hand. "Ms. Ashford, I have to ask. Mr. Williams has no hospitality experience, no management background. His previous role was janitorial." "His previous role," Victoria said evenly, "was Master Sergeant in the United States Army Special Forces, 15 years of service, multiple combat deployments, decorated veteran." Silence. Harrison leaned forward. "With all due respect, Ms. Ashford, military service doesn't automatically translate to corporate leadership. This is a $500 million company. We need proven executives, not soldiers." "You're right," Marcus said. Everyone turned to look at him. "Military service doesn't automatically translate to corporate leadership. Neither does an MBA from Harvard. Neither does 20 years of climbing the ladder." He met Harrison's eyes. "What translates is competence, results, the ability to assess threats and neutralize them before they become problems." Harrison's jaw tightened. "And what threats exactly do you see in a hotel chain?" "Right now, about 15. The room stirred. 15. The HR VP looked alarmed. Marcus nodded. "Your perimeter security at the downtown property has 3 blind spots. Your access control system at the resort was last updated in 2019. It's vulnerable to at least 2 common bypass techniques. Your employee screening process doesn't include social media audits, which means you have no idea if someone on your staff has radicalization flags." He paused. Let the words land. "You have a VIP guest arriving Thursday, a tech executive worth $4 billion. His security team submitted advance requirements last week. Your current protocols can't meet half of them." Victoria looked at him. She hadn't known about any of this. "How do you know all that?" she asked. "Because I spent the weekend reviewing your security infrastructure. From the outside, without credentials, using only publicly available information." Marcus turned back to Harrison. "That's what a soldier brings to corporate leadership, the ability to see what everyone else misses." Harrison's face had gone red. "This is you had no authorization to, I had initiative, something this company seems to lack." Marcus stood. "You want to know if I'm qualified? Give me 30 days. If I can't show measurable improvement in every security metric, I'll resign. No severance. No complaints." The room was silent. Victoria spoke first. "That sounds more than fair. Does anyone object?" Harrison looked around the table. No support, no allies willing to stick their necks out. 30 days, he said through gritted teeth. Not a day more. The meeting ended. Staff filed out whispering among themselves. Victoria caught Marcus in the hallway. That was impressive. That was necessary. You really found 15 security gaps. 17, actually. I was being generous. Victoria laughed. A real laugh. You're going to be trouble, aren't you? The good kind, I hope. She stopped walking, turned to face him. Marcus, I need to tell you something. Harrison isn't just going to wait 30 days and hope you fail. He's going to sabotage you. That's how he operates. I figured. You need to be careful. Marcus looked at her, saw the concern, the worry, something he hadn't expected. Why do you care so much about me? About this? Victoria was quiet for a moment. Because you're the first person in this company who treated me like a human being instead of a CEO, even after what I did to you. She paused. And because I think you're exactly what this place needs. What I need. Before Marcus could respond, her phone buzzed. She checked it. Her face changed. What is it? The tech executive, Richardson. His team just moved up the arrival. He's coming tomorrow instead of Thursday. Why me? Security incident at his last hotel. Someone tried to breach his room. Victoria looked at Marcus. He's demanding a complete security overhaul before he arrives. If we can't deliver, he's canceling his reservation. That's a $200,000 booking. Marcus felt the familiar calm settling over him. The mission focus. How many hours do we have? 26. Then we better get started. The next 26 hours were chaos. Marcus commandeered the security office, pulled every file, every protocol, every piece of equipment. He identified the weak points, designed solutions, implemented changes that should have taken weeks. He brought in 3 members of his old unit veterans who'd gone private sector after leaving the army. They arrived within hours, no questions asked. When Shadow Wolf called, you answered. By 3 a.m., the downtown property had new surveillance coverage, updated access controls, and a completely redesigned VIP floor security protocol. Marcus worked through the night. Didn't eat, didn't sleep. His body remembered this rhythm. The pre-mission intensity. The laser focus. At 4 a.m., Victoria found him in the security office reviewing camera feeds. You should sleep. I'll sleep when it's done. She sat down across from him, 2 cups of coffee in her hands. She pushed one toward him. Thank you, he said, for giving me this chance. Thank you for taking it. They sat in silence for a moment. The monitors flickered. Camera feeds from every floor. Can I ask you something personal? Victoria said. Depends on the question. Your wife, Nia's mother. What happened? Marcus's hands stilled on the keyboard. I'm sorry, Victoria said quickly. That was inappropriate. You don't have to. Aneurysm, 5 years ago. No warning, no symptoms. She was there one moment and gone the next. Victoria closed her eyes. I'm so sorry. Nia was 3. She was in the doorway when Keisha collapsed. She saw everything. God, Marcus. For a year after, she wouldn't let me out of her sight. Screamed every time I left the room. Thought I was going to disappear too. His voice was steady, but something underneath cracked. That's when I knew I couldn't go back to the army. Couldn't leave her. Couldn't risk making her an orphan. Victoria wiped her eyes. You gave up everything for her. No. I gained everything for her. The army, the missions, the medals, that was a life. But Nia, she's my purpose. Everything else was just preparation for her. Victoria reached across the table, touched his hand. She's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. Marcus's phone buzzed. Text from one of his veterans. Perimeter sweep complete, all clear, ready for arrival. He looked at Victoria. We're ready. You did it. In 26 hours. We did it. Richardson arrived at 2 p.m. the following day. His security team swept the property for 3 hours. Checked every door, every camera, every exit route. Asked questions Marcus had already anticipated. Tested protocols Marcus had already perfected. At 5 p.m., Richardson himself walked through the lobby. 64 years old. Tech billionaire. Paranoid with good reason. 3 kidnapping attempts in the past decade. He stopped in front of Marcus. "You're the new security director." "Yes, sir." "My team says this is the cleanest setup they've seen in 18 months. Better than most government facilities." "Thank you, sir." Richardson studied him. "You're military." 15 years, Special Forces. "I can tell. The way you carry yourself, the way your eyes never stop moving." Richardson extended his hand. "Thank you for taking this seriously. The last hotel almost got me killed." Marcus shook his hand. "That won't happen here." Richardson smiled. First genuine emotion Marcus had seen from him. "I believe you." That evening, after Richardson was secured in his suite and the property was locked down, Marcus finally left the building. It was 6:30 p.m. He'd promised Nia he'd be home by 4:30. He'd broken his promise. The drive home felt longer than usual, the guilt heavier. When he walked through the door, Nia was on the couch with Mrs. Patterson, watching a movie. Her face lit up when she saw him. "Daddy?" She ran to him. He caught her, held her tight. "I'm sorry I'm late, baby." "It's okay. Mrs. Patterson made mac and cheese. I should have called. You were saving people, like before." She looked up at him with those eyes that saw everything. "Were you?" Marcus thought about Richardson, about the security gaps, about the threat that had been neutralized before it could materialize. "Yeah, baby, something like that." Nia smiled. "I knew it." Mrs. Patterson gathered her things. She was an angel, as always. "Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you." "You'd figure it out. You always do." She patted his arm. "But you don't have to figure it out alone, Marcus. That's what community is for." After she left, Marcus made dinner. Real dinner this time, grilled chicken, vegetables, the good stuff. Nia helped, standing on her step stool, stirring the sauce with intense concentration. "Daddy." "Yeah, baby." "Are you going to work late a lot now?" The question hit him harder than any enemy fire. "I'm going to try not to." "But sometimes you will." "Maybe. Sometimes. When people need help." Nia was quiet for a moment. Then, "That's okay. I understand." "You do?" "Yeah, you're like a superhero. Superheroes have to save people. That's their job." She looked up at him. "But superheroes always come home too. Right?" Marcus's throat tightened. "Right, baby. Always." "Promise." "Promise." But even as he said the word, he felt the weight of it. The impossibility of guaranteeing anything. Life had taught him that. Keisha had taught him that. All he could do was try. Every day. To be there. To come home. To keep the promises he made to the only person who mattered. The phone rang at 9 p.m. Marcus checked the caller ID. Victoria. "Everything okay?" "Harrison just called an emergency board meeting. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. "About what?" "About you. He's claiming you violated protocol by bringing in outside contractors without board approval. Says it's grounds for termination." Marcus felt the familiar tension returning. The contractors were necessary. Richardson's team confirmed that. "I know. But Harrison doesn't care about results. He cares about process, about making you look like a rogue element." "What do you want me to do?" "Come to the meeting. Defend yourself. Show them what you showed Richardson." "And if they vote to fire me..." Victoria was quiet for a moment. "Then I'll resign too." "Victoria, I mean it. If they can't see your value, if they'd rather protect their egos than protect this company, then I don't want to lead them." Marcus thought about Nia, about the medication, about the benefits he'd had for exactly 4 days. "I'll be there." "Marcus." "Yeah. Thank you. For everything. He hung up, stared at the phone. 4 days. That's how long his new life had lasted. 4 days before the old patterns returned. Politics. Power plays. People who saw him as a threat instead of an asset. He'd survived 15 years of combat. He'd survived Somalia. Survived losing Damon. Survived losing Keisha. He could survive one board meeting. But as he checked on Nia already asleep, breathing steady peaceful, he wondered how many more battles he had left in him, and whether any of them were worth fighting if he couldn't keep his promises to the only person who mattered. The morning came too soon. Marcus arrived at the Grandview at 6:45 a.m., suit pressed, mind sharp, ready for war. The boardroom was already full. Harrison at the head of the table this time, Victoria relegated to the side. The power dynamics had shifted overnight. Mr. Williams. Harrison didn't offer a seat. Thank you for joining us. Marcus stood. Let them look up at him. I understand there are concerns about my methodology. Concerns is an understatement. Harrison slid a document across the table. You brought in 3 unauthorized personnel, gave them access to sensitive areas, made changes to critical systems without board approval. I secured the property. That's what I was hired to do. You violated chain of command. There was no time for chain of command. The threat was immediate. Harrison smiled, the kind of smile that preceded an execution. The threat was a paranoid billionaire's fantasy. There was no real danger. With respect, sir, you don't know that. You've never assessed a real threat in your life. The room went cold. Harrison's face darkened. How dare you? I dare, because I've seen what happens when people ignore threats. I've carried friends' bodies because someone in a comfortable office decided the danger wasn't real. Marcus stepped forward. Richardson's last hotel had the same attitude. They almost lost him to a 3-man kidnapping team that walked through their lobby like they owned the place. That's not our concern. It is now, because if something happens to Richardson under our roof, this company doesn't just lose a booking. You lose everything. Reputation, trust, future business. Marcus looked around the table. I didn't violate protocol. I filled a gap that shouldn't have existed. The question isn't whether I acted appropriately. The question is why this company wasn't prepared in the first place. Silence. Victoria spoke first. He's right. I've reviewed the previous security protocols. They were outdated by at least 3 years. If anything, Marcus exposed a systemic failure that we should have caught ourselves. Harrison glared at her. This isn't about past failures. It's about authority, about respect for process. Process doesn't stop bullets, Marcus said. Process doesn't save lives. People do. Decisions do. Action does. A board member, the retired general who'd supported Marcus before, cleared his throat. I've seen the reports from Richardson's security team. They're recommending our property as a model for other high-value clients. That's not nothing. Another board member nodded. The advance booking inquiries have already increased. Word spreads fast in those circles. Harrison's support was crumbling. Marcus could see it in his eyes, the desperation, the realization that power was slipping away. This is about more than one booking, Harrison said. This is about who controls this company. No, Victoria said, standing. This is about what kind of company we want to be. One that punishes excellence or one that rewards it. She looked around the table. I hired Marcus because he sees what we don't, because he acts when others hesitate, because he cares more about results than politics. She paused. If that's not what this board wants, then you don't want me either. The room held its breath. The general spoke again. I move to retain Marcus Williams in his position with full support of the board. All in favor, hands raised, 1 by 1, 7 of 12. Harrison's face was stone. The motion carries, the general said. Welcome aboard, Mr. Williams. Officially this time. The meeting ended. Board members filed out, some shaking Marcus's hand. others avoiding his eyes. Harrison was last to leave. He stopped in front of Marcus. "This isn't over." "I know. You think you've won, but this company has been mine for 30 years. Victoria's mother understood that. Victoria will learn. Maybe. Or maybe you'll learn that some battles aren't worth fighting." Harrison's eyes narrowed. "Is that a threat?" "It's advice. From a soldier to a politician." Marcus met his gaze. "I've seen men like you in every unit I've served. Men who care more about rank than mission. More about control than success. They usually get people killed." "I'm not afraid of you." "You should be. Not because I'm dangerous, but because I'm right." Harrison left without another word. Victoria found Marcus in the hallway. "That was intense. That was Tuesday." She laughed, shook her head. "You really aren't afraid of anything, are you?" Marcus thought about Nia, about the phone calls he dreaded, about the hospital visits, about the possibility of losing her the way he'd lost everyone else. "I'm afraid of plenty," he said. "I just don't let it stop me." His phone buzzed. Text from Mrs. Patterson. "Nia says to bring ice cream. Rocky Road." Marcus smiled. First real smile of the day. "I have to go." Hot date. The most important one. Victoria watched him walk toward the elevator. "Marcus." He turned. "Same time tomorrow." "Same time tomorrow." The doors closed. And Marcus Williams' soldier turned. Janitor turned director, went home to his daughter. The way he always did. The way he always would. 3 weeks passed. Marcus settled into a rhythm he hadn't known in years. Up at 5, coffee, check on Nia, drive her to school, at the office by 8, security briefings, protocol reviews, team meetings, home by 4:30, dinner, homework, bedtime stories. It wasn't the life he'd planned, but it was the life he'd built. And for the first time since Keisha died, it felt like enough. The Grandview flourished under his watch. Word spread through the executive protection circuit the hotel with the Special Forces director. High-value clients started requesting the property by name. Richardson extended his stay twice, then booked quarterly visits for the next 2 years. Victoria noticed. The board noticed. Even Harrison noticed, though he said nothing. Just watched. Waited. Marcus knew that silence. Had seen it before. In Afghanistan. In Somalia. The quiet before the ambush. But he pushed the thought aside. Focused on what mattered. Then the phone call came. It was a Tuesday. 2:47 p.m. Marcus was reviewing surveillance footage when his personal phone rang. Nia's school. "Mr. Williams, this is Principal Davidson. Nia collapsed during lunch. The paramedics are taking her to St. Michael's." Marcus was in his car before the principal finished speaking. The drive took 11 minutes. Felt like 11 hours. His hands gripped the wheel so tight his knuckles went white. Not again. Please. Not again. He'd watched Keisha collapse. Watched the life drain from her eyes while he stood helpless. He couldn't do it again. Couldn't survive it again. The emergency room was chaos. Marcus pushed through badge-out voice commanding. "Nia Williams, 9 years old. Brought in by ambulance." The nurse checked her screen. "Room 7. Doctor's with her now." Marcus ran. Nia lay on the bed, small and pale against the white sheets. An oxygen mask covered her face. Monitors beeped. IV dripped. "Daddy?" Her voice was weak. Scared, but alive. He grabbed her hand. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." The doctor, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, stepped forward. "Mr. Williams, I'm Dr. Chen. Nia had a severe sickle cell crisis. Her oxygen levels dropped significantly. We've stabilized her, but she needs to stay overnight for observation." "Is she going to be okay?" "She's stable now. But this was a serious episode. We need to discuss her long-term care plan." Marcus nodded, couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. Nia squeezed his hand. "Don't be scared, Daddy. I'm being brave." He kissed her forehead. "I know, baby. I know." His phone buzzed. Victoria. He ignored it, buzzed again. Gerald. Ignored. Again. 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 Finally he checked. 17 missed calls. 23 messages. Victoria's text, "Emergency at the hotel. Harrison called a press conference. He's making accusations. Please call me." Marcus looked at Nia, looked at his phone, his daughter, his job, his world, his responsibility. "Go, Daddy." He turned. Nia was watching him. "What?" "I can see your phone. Something's wrong." Her voice was tired but firm. "You have to go." "I'm not leaving you." "Mrs. Patterson can come. She always comes." "Nia, you said heroes have to save people. That's their job." She squeezed his hand. "Go save people, Daddy. I'll be okay." Marcus's eyes burned. "I'll be back in 2 hours. 3 at most." "Promise?" "Promise." He called Mrs. Patterson. She was there in 15 minutes, bustling through the door with a bag of Nia's favorite books and a container of homemade soup. "Go," she said. "I've got her." Marcus kissed Nia one more time. Then he left. The hardest thing he'd ever done was walk out of that hospital room. Harder than Somalia. Harder than burying Damon. Harder than watching Keisha die. But his daughter told him to go, and she was braver than he'd ever been. The Grandview was surrounded by news vans. Marcus, parked in the back, entered through the service entrance. Old habits. Gerald met him in the hallway. "It's bad, Marcus. Harrison's gone nuclear." "What's he saying?" "That you falsified your military records. That the Army never heard of someone called Shadow Wolf. That Victoria hired a fraud to cover up her own incompetence." Marcus's jaw tightened. "That's a lie." "I know, but he's got documents, official-looking stuff. The press is eating it up." They reached the executive floor. Through the glass walls, Marcus could see Victoria in her office, pale, shaking, surrounded by lawyers. He walked in. "Marcus." Victoria's voice cracked. "I'm so sorry. I tried to stop him." "It's not your fault. He's been planning this for weeks. The documents, they look real. Letterhead, signatures, everything." Marcus took the folder from her desk, scanned the pages. Department of Defense correspondence, service record discrepancies, a memo claiming Marcus Williams had been dishonorably discharged in 2015. All of it fabricated. All of it convincing. "This is forgery." "I know, but proving it will take time. And Harrison's already called for my resignation. Says I endangered the company by hiring someone with a fake background." "Where is he now?" "Conference room B with the board." Marcus handed her the folder. "Call Colonel Reeves. Tell her what's happening. She'll know what to do." "Where are you going?" "To end this." The conference room fell silent when Marcus entered. Harrison sat at the head of the table, smug satisfaction radiating from every pore. Board members flanked him, faces uncertain. The general who'd supported Marcus looked troubled. "Mr. Williams." Harrison didn't stand. "We were just discussing your future with the company, or rather your lack of one." "I saw the documents." "Then you know the truth. Your military service was a fabrication. Your credentials were lies. Everything you've built here was founded on fraud." Marcus walked to the table, placed his hands flat on the surface. "I'm going to say this once. Those documents are forgeries. Every word is a lie." Harrison laughed. "Of course you'd say that. What else would a con man say when caught? A con man would run. I'm standing right here. Bravado won't save you. The press already has the story. By tomorrow morning you'll be unemployable, and Victoria will be gone, and this company will finally be run by people who know what they're doing." Marcus studied Harrison's face. The confidence, the certainty, The arrogance of a man who thought he'd won. "You made one mistake," Marcus said. "Oh, and what's that?" "You assumed I was alone." The door opened. Colonel Diana Reeves walked in. Full dress uniform. Silver eagles gleaming. 2 military police officers behind her. Harrison's face went white. "Mr. Harrison." Reeves's voice could freeze fire. "I'm Colonel Diana Reeves, United States Army Special Operations Command. I understand you've been distributing falsified military documents." I don't know what you're talking about." "You don't. Because I have digital forensics showing those documents were created on a computer registered to your home address, printed on paper purchased from a Staples in Connecticut 3 weeks ago, and containing signatures forged from publicly available images." Harrison stood. "This is absurd. You can't just—" "I can, and I will." Reeves handed a folder to the general. "These are Master Sergeant Marcus Williams's actual service records. 15 years of distinguished service, Silver Star, Purple Heart, commendations from 3 separate theater commanders." The general opened the folder. His face changed as he read. "There's also documentation of Operation Desert Serpent." Reeves continued. "Classified until last week, when we received approval to release a summary for exactly this purpose." She turned to Harrison. "Master Sergeant Williams saved 9 American lives under conditions that would have broken most men. He carried 3 wounded soldiers through 12 miles of hostile territory. He killed 7 enemy combatants in close combat to protect his team." Her voice hardened. "And you tried to destroy his reputation with forgeries created in your home office." Harrison's face was purple. "I have rights. I have lawyers. I can't arrest you, that's true. But I can testify. At the civil trial, Victoria Ashford will surely file. At the criminal investigation, the FBI will open for forging military documents." Reeves smiled, cold, precise. "And I can make sure every news outlet that ran your story gets the truth by 6 o'clock tonight." The general closed the folder, looked at Harrison. "Robert, I've known you for 30 years, worked with you, trusted you." His voice was heavy with disgust. "This is unforgivable. James, you have to understand. I understand perfectly. You tried to destroy a war hero because you were afraid of losing power." The general stood. "I move for Robert Harrison's immediate removal from this board. All in favor, every hand raised, including Harrison's former allies. Motion carries." The general looked at Harrison. "Get out. Now." Harrison stood, straightened his tie, tried to salvage some dignity. "This isn't over." "Yes," Marcus said quietly. "It is." Harrison left. The door closed behind him. The room exhaled. Reeves turned to Marcus. "Are you all right?" "My daughter's in the hospital. I need to get back to her." "Go. I'll handle the press." Marcus nodded, started toward the door. "Marcus?" He turned. Victoria stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. For everything. Thank Colonel Reeves. She's the one who saved us." "She saved the company. You saved me." Victoria wiped her eyes. "Go be with Nia. I'll handle things here." Marcus left. The drive back to St. Michael's took 8 minutes. He ran every yellow light. Nia was asleep when he arrived. Mrs. Patterson sat beside her knitting. "She's stable," Mrs. Patterson said. "Doctor says she can probably go home tomorrow." Marcus collapsed into the chair on Nia's other side, took her hand. "You look exhausted," Mrs. Patterson said. "Long day. Did you save the people?" Marcus thought about Harrison's face, about Reeves walking through that door, about the relief in Victoria's eyes. "Yeah, I think I did." Mrs. Patterson smiled, gathered her things. "I'll come back in the morning. You should sleep." "I'm not leaving her." "I know. That's why I brought this." She pulled a blanket from her bag, handed it to him. Hospital chairs are cold. After she left, Marcus sat in silence, watching Naya breathe, listening to the monitor's beep. His phone buzzed. Text from Victoria. Press conference went well. Harrison's story completely debunked. Media's calling you a hero. Again. He didn't respond. Another buzz. Photo from Victoria. News headline. Hotel CEO defends war hero against fraudulent attack. He smiled. Set the phone aside. None of it mattered. Not the headlines. Not the vindication. Not the victory. Only this. Only her. Naya stirred, opened her eyes. Daddy, you came back. I promised, didn't I? She smiled. Weak but real. Did you save the people? Yeah, baby. I saved the people. Good. Her eyes closed again. Heroes always save people. Marcus pulled the blanket over himself. Settled into the chair. Not always, he whispered. But we try. He stayed awake until midnight, watching her breathe, listening to her heartbeat on the monitor. Then finally, he slept. The morning brought clarity. Dr. Chen arrived at 7 with test results. Nia's crisis had been triggered by dehydration and stress. Her body was responding well to treatment. She can go home this afternoon, Dr. Chen said, but we need to talk about prevention. Marcus nodded. Whatever it takes. Her current medication regimen is adequate, but there are newer treatments available, more expensive but more effective. They could significantly reduce the frequency and severity of her crises. How much? With insurance, probably $400 a month out of pocket. Marcus didn't flinch. A month ago, that number would have been impossible. Now, with his new salary, it was manageable. Do it. I'll put in the referral. A specialist will contact you within the week. After the doctor left, Nia woke up fully, alert, hungry, complaining about hospital food. Daddy, can we get pancakes when we go home? We can get whatever you want, baby. Even ice cream for breakfast. Let's not get crazy. She laughed, that laugh that made everything worth it. At noon, Victoria called. How is she? Better. Going home this afternoon. Thank God. Victoria paused. Marcus, take the rest of the week off. Be with her. I can't. You can, and you will. That's an order from your CEO. Her voice softened. The company will survive without you for a few days. Your daughter needs you more. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest, something he'd been carrying for years. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for everything you've done. She paused. And Marcus. The board voted this morning. Harrison's been permanently removed. The general is taking over as interim chairman. Good. There's more. They want to give you a commendation. Public recognition for your service. A ceremony at the company gala next month. Marcus closed his eyes. I don't need that. I know you don't. But they want to give it anyway. And honestly, I think you should let them. Why? Because Naya deserves to see her father honored. Because the world should know who you really are. Victoria's voice was warm. And because you've spent 5 years hiding in the shadows. Maybe it's time to step into the light. Marcus looked at Naya, who was drawing pictures on a napkin. I'll think about it. That's all I ask. They took Nia home that afternoon. The apartment felt different now. Smaller, but warmer. Mrs. Patterson had been there, fresh flowers on the table, groceries in the fridge, Nia's favorite blanket laid out on the couch. Nia settled in immediately, demanded her pancakes, demanded her cartoons, demanded her father's undivided attention. Marcus gave it all. For 4 days straight, he did nothing but be her dad. They watched movies, built Lego castles, cooked terrible meals that somehow tasted perfect, talked about school and friends and dreams for the future. On the 3rd day, Naya asked the question he'd been dreading. Daddy, am I going to be sick forever? Marcus set down the Lego brick in his hand, gave her his full attention. Your sickness is part of you, baby, but it doesn't have to control you. Some kids at school said I can't do normal things, that I'll always be different. You are different. Different isn't bad. But I want to run and play and not get tired. Marcus pulled her onto his lap. Listen to me, Nia. I knew men in the army who had all kinds of problems. Bad knees, bad backs, bad hearts. You know what made them soldiers? What? They didn't let their problems stop them. They found ways around them. They adapted. He looked into her eyes. You're going to have hard days. Days when your body doesn't cooperate. But you're also going to have good days. Days when you feel strong. And on those good days, you're going to do amazing things. Like what? Like whatever you want. Doctor, teacher, artist, astronaut. Can sick people be astronauts? Baby, there's a man who walked on the moon with a heart condition. There's a woman who ran marathons with diabetes. There's a pilot who flew fighter jets with one arm. Marcus smiled. Your body might be different, but your spirit is unlimited. Nia was quiet for a moment, processing. Daddy? Yeah. I want to be like you when I grow up. Like me? Brave, even when you're scared. Marcus hugged her tight, held on as long as she'd let him. You're already braver than me, baby. You always have been. On Friday morning, Marcus returned to work. The hotel felt different, quieter, calmer. Harrison's toxic energy had been purged and something lighter had taken its place. Victoria met him in the lobby. You look rested. First time in 5 years. They walked together toward the elevators. The board finalized the gala plans, Victoria said. They want to honor you publicly, full ceremony, press coverage, the works. Marcus grimaced. I hate attention. I know, but I think it would mean something, not just for you, for the staff, for the company, for everyone who watched Harrison try to destroy you. Why does it matter so much to you? Victoria stopped walking, turned to face him. Because when I first met you, I saw a janitor, someone to dismiss, someone beneath my notice. Her voice dropped. And then I learned who you really were, what you'd sacrificed, what you'd survived. And I realized that I'd been looking at people wrong my entire life. She took a breath. The ceremony isn't just about you, Marcus. It's about changing how this company sees people, how I see people. It's about proving that worth isn't measured by titles or degrees, it's measured by character. Marcus studied her face, the sincerity, the growth. You've changed. I'm trying to. Your mother would be proud. Victoria's eyes glistened. I hope so. I really hope so. They rode the elevator in comfortable silence. At the executive floor, Victoria spoke again. There's one more thing. The board wants to create a new program, a scholarship fund for employees' children, medical support for families in need. That sounds expensive. It is. But Richardson doubled his commitment when he heard about it, said he wants to support companies that invest in their people. Victoria smiled. He asked specifically that it be named after you. I don't want that. I told him you'd say that. So we compromised. She handed him a folder. The Williams Family Foundation, for employees facing exactly what you faced. Medical bills, single parents, people falling through the cracks. Marcus opened the folder, read the proposal. His name wasn't attached, just the mission, just the purpose. This is, his voice caught. This is what Keisha would have wanted. Tell me about her, someday, when you're ready. She was a nurse, spent her whole life helping people who couldn't help themselves. When she died, he stopped, composed himself. When she died, I thought that part of me died too, the part that believed in good. But it didn't. No, Nia kept it alive. And now, He looked at Victoria. Now maybe other people can keep it alive too. Victoria placed her hand on his arm. You're a good man, Marcus Williams. Don't let anyone tell you different. He nodded, couldn't speak. Some things didn't need words. That evening, Marcus picked up Nia from Mrs. Patterson's. She was bursting with energy, talking nonstop about school and friends and a boy named Tyler who ate glue. Daddy, can we get pizza for dinner? We had pizza Tuesday. That was forever ago. It was 3 days ago. Exactly. Forever. He laughed. Ordered the pizza. They sat on the living room floor, eating straight from the box, watching cartoons. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Are you happy? Marcus looked at her. This girl who had survived so much, who asked questions no 9-year-old should ask. Yeah, baby. I'm happy. Good. She took another bite. Because I'm happy too. What makes you happy? Pizza. Cartoons. You. In that order. She grinned. Maybe. He threw a napkin at her. She threw it back. They ended up in a napkin war that lasted 20 minutes and left paper scattered across the entire apartment. Later, after she was bathed and brushed and tucked into bed, Marcus sat on the edge of her mattress. Daddy. Yeah. Thank you for coming back. When I was in the hospital, I know you had to go save people. You're the only person I needed to save baby. But you did both. You saved me, and you saved the people. She smiled. That's what makes you special. Marcus kissed her forehead. Good night, Nia. Good night, Daddy. She closed her eyes. Then Daddy. Yeah, I love you. All the way to the moon and back. His heart cracked. Healed. Cracked again. I love you too, baby. All the way to the moon and back. He turned off the light. Stood in the doorway. His daughter. His purpose. His peace. Everything he'd lost. Everything he'd found. The shadows were still there. They always would be. Damon. Keisha. The men he couldn't save. But the light was there too, growing stronger every day. And for the first time in 5 years, Marcus Williams believed that the light might actually win. The gala arrived on a Saturday evening in late October. Marcus stood in front of the mirror, adjusting a tie he hadn't worn since Keisha's funeral. Black suit, white shirt, silver cufflinks, a gift from Colonel Reeves engraved with his old call sign, Shadow Wolf. He hadn't used that name in 5 years, hadn't wanted to. The man who carried that name had seen too much, lost too much, carried too much. But maybe it was time to stop running from who he used to be. Daddy, you look like a movie star. Nia burst through the bathroom door, spinning in her new dress. Purple, with silver sparkles. She'd picked it out herself, spent 20 minutes in the store debating between this one and a pink one with bows. You look beautiful, baby. I know. She grinned, no false modesty. Mrs. Patterson did my hair. She said I look like a princess. She's right. Nia studied him in the mirror. Are you nervous? A little. Why? You're just getting an award. You've done way scarier stuff. Marcus laughed. She wasn't wrong. Sometimes the scary stuff is easier. You know what to do. Fight or run. Win or lose. He knelt down to her level. But this standing in front of people, letting them see you, that's different. Why? Because when you're fighting, you're in control. When you're being seen, you're not. Nia thought about this. Then she took his hand. I'll be there, Daddy. If you get scared, just look at me. I'll make a funny face. Marcus pulled her into a hug. What did I do to deserve you? You got lucky. Yeah, I really did. The Grandview ballroom had been transformed. Crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, 500 guests in formal attire, executives, politicians, military officials, press. The company had spared no expense. Marcus entered through the main doors, Nia's hand in his. Every head turned. He felt exposed, vulnerable, like a target in an open field. Then Nia squeezed his hand. "You've got this, Daddy." He squeezed back. Victoria met them near the entrance. She wore a silver gown, elegant but understated. The Ice Queen image was gone completely, now replaced by something warmer, more human. "Marcus, Nia." She knelt down eye level with the girl. "You look absolutely stunning." "Thank you. You look like Elsa." Victoria laughed. "That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week." She stood turned to Marcus. "How are you holding up, surviving?" "You'll do more than survive. You'll shine." She gestured toward the crowd. "These people came to see a hero. Don't disappoint them." "I'm not a hero." "Tell that to the 9 men you saved in Somalia. Tell it to the 6 hostages who came home because of your analysis. Tell it to the staff who watched you stand up to Harrison when everyone else was afraid." Victoria's voice softened. "You're a hero, Marcus, whether you believe it or not." Before he could respond, a commotion near the entrance drew their attention. Colonel Reeves walked in full-dress uniform, medals gleaming. Behind her, a group of men in civilian clothes, but Marcus recognized them immediately. The way they carried themselves, the way their eyes swept the room, the way they moved as a unit. His men, his team, the survivors of Operation Desert Serpent. "Shadow Wolf." The shout came from a massive man near the back of the group, Sergeant First Class Jerome "Tank" Washington. 6'4", built like a linebacker, tears streaming down his face. Tank pushed through the crowd, wrapped Marcus in a bear hug that lifted him off his feet. "You son of a bitch. 5 years, not a word. We thought you were dead." "I'm sorry, Tank. I couldn't what? Pick up a phone, send an email." Tank pulled back hands on Marcus's shoulders. "We've been looking for you, man. All of us." The others surrounded them now. Corporal Davis, Sergeant Miller, Lieutenant Park. Men Marcus had bled with, fought with, survived with. Men he'd abandoned. "I'm sorry," Marcus said again. "After Keisha died, I needed to disappear. For Nia. We would have helped." "I know, but I couldn't ask, couldn't face you." He looked at each of them. "Every time I saw your faces, I saw Damon, saw Rivera, saw Chen, and I couldn't—" His voice broke. Tank gripped his shoulder. "We lost them too, Marcus. We carry them too. But we don't carry them alone. That's what brothers do." Nia tugged Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, who are these men?" Marcus knelt down. "These are my brother's baby. From the army." "The ones you saved?" Tank laughed. "She knows about that. She knows everything." Tank crouched down, bringing himself to Nia's level. "Your daddy saved my life, little one. Carried me 3 miles through enemy territory with bullets flying everywhere. You know what he said when I told him to leave me behind?" Nia shook her head. "He said, 'We don't leave family.' And then he picked me up like I weighed nothing and just kept running." Tank's voice was thick. "Your daddy's the bravest man I've ever known." Nia beamed. "I know, he's my superhero." Tank looked at Marcus. Something passed between them. Understanding, forgiveness, brotherhood restored. "She's beautiful, Marcus, just like Keisha. She has her mother's spirit and her father's heart." The ceremony began at 8. Victoria took the stage first. The crowd quieted. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This event has special significance for our company, and for me personally." She paused, collected herself. 6 weeks ago, I made a terrible mistake. I fired a man in front of his colleagues, humiliated him, stripped him of his dignity." Her voice wavered. "I did it because I was afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of appearing weak." The room was silent. "But that man, that janitor, as I saw him, turned out to be a decorated war hero. A master sergeant who saved 9 lives in combat. A single father who sacrificed everything for his daughter." Victoria's eyes found Marcus in the crowd, and instead of hating me for what I did, he gave me grace. He taught me that true strength isn't about control, it's about seeing people for who they really are. She gestured toward the side of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Master Sergeant Marcus Williams. The applause was thunderous. Marcus walked to the stage, Nia's hand still in his. He hadn't planned to bring her up, but she refused to let go. "I'm coming with you, Daddy." So they walked together, father and daughter, soldier and child. The general, now interim chairman of the board, met them at the podium. He held a velvet box. "Master Sergeant Williams, on behalf of the Grandview Hospitality Group, and in recognition of your extraordinary service to this company and to your country, it is my honor to present you with this commendation." He opened the box. Inside, a crystal eagle mounted on a marble base, engraved, "For valor, leadership, and unwavering dedication to excellence." The general continued. "We also want to announce the creation of the Williams Family Foundation, a charitable program dedicated to supporting employees facing medical hardships, single parents, and families in crisis. This program exists because of your example, Master Sergeant, because you showed us what it means to put family first while still serving others." More applause, cameras flashing. Marcus took the award, stared at it. Then he looked out at the crowd. "I don't have a speech prepared. I'm not good at speeches. In the Army, we communicated with hand signals and short bursts on the radio. Anything longer than 3 sentences was considered rambling." Laughter rippled through the room. "But there are some things I want to say. Things I should have said a long time ago." He looked at his brothers standing in the front row. "To my team, Tank Davis, Miller Park, I'm sorry I disappeared. I was broken, and I thought hiding was the same as healing. It wasn't. You deserved better. Damon deserved better." Tank nodded, silent tears on his face. "To Victoria, thank you for seeing me. Not the janitor, not the soldier. Me. The broken man trying to put himself back together. You gave me a chance when you didn't have to. That means more than any award." Victoria wiped her eyes. "And to my daughter." Marcus looked down at Nia. "Everything I am, everything I've done since your mother died, it's all been for you. You're the reason I get up in the morning. You're the reason I keep fighting. You're the reason I believe tomorrow can be better than today." Nia looked up at him. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, baby. All the way to the moon and back." The room erupted, standing ovation. 500 people on their feet applauding a man who'd spent 5 years trying to be invisible. Marcus stood there, award in one hand, daughter's hand in the other, and let himself be seen. It terrified him. It also healed him. After the ceremony, the reception spilled across the ballroom. Marcus found himself surrounded by people he'd never met. Executives wanting to shake his hand. Military officials wanting to reconnect. Reporters wanting interviews. He handled it with the same calm he'd handled combat. One person at a time. One conversation at a time. One step at a time. Colonel Reeves found him near the bar. "You did good up there, Master Sergeant. Felt like I was back in the kill zone." She laughed. "Public speaking is worse than combat. At least in combat you can shoot back." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. "The Army misses you, Marcus." "I'm done with the Army." "I know, but I wanted you to hear it anyway." Reeves paused. "What you did for those hostages in Sudan, the analysis, the planning, it saved lives. The Pentagon took notice. I'm not going back. I'm not asking you to. But I am asking you to consider something else." "What?" "Consulting. Part-time. Remote. When situations arise that require your specific expertise." Reeves met his eyes. "You have gifts, Marcus. Gifts that could save more lives. I'm not asking you to leave your daughter. I'm asking you to use what God gave you." Marcus thought about it. About the satellite imagery he'd analyzed from his living room. About the pattern recognition that came as naturally as breathing. "I'll think about it. That's all I ask." Reeves glanced toward the dance floor where Naya was teaching Tank some kind of elaborate hand clap routine. She's special, your daughter. She's everything. Then make sure she knows it, every day. Kids grow up fast. Reeves's voice softened. I have regrets, Marcus. Years I can't get back. Don't make my mistakes. She walked away before he could respond. At 10 o'clock, Victoria found Marcus on the balcony. The night was cool. Stars visible despite the city lights. Music drifting from inside. Hiding out here, recovering. She joined him at the railing. You were amazing tonight. I survived. More than survived. You inspired people. She turned to face him. I've had 3 board members tell me tonight that they want to implement similar programs at their own companies. The Williams Foundation is going to change lives, Marcus. It's not about me. It's absolutely about you. Your story. Your example. Victoria paused. You made me want to be better. You make everyone want to be better. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then, your mother would be proud. Victoria's breath caught. You think so? I know so. You've built something real here, something lasting. That's not easy. It feels easy when I have the right people beside me. She touched his arm. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Thank you for seeing me. Seeing you is the easiest thing I've ever done. They stood together, watching the stars. Inside, Nia was dancing with Tank, spinning in circles, laughing. Marcus watched her through the glass. She's going to be okay, Victoria said. I know. So are you. He looked at her. This woman who'd humiliated him, who'd fired him, who'd forced him back into the light. Yeah, he said. I think I am. The gala ended at midnight. Marcus carried a sleeping Nia to the car. Tank and the others promised to visit. Victoria promised to call. The drive home was quiet. City lights flashing past. Naya's soft breathing from the back seat. Marcus thought about the night, about the applause, about the faces of his brothers, about everything that had changed in 6 short weeks. He'd walked into the Grandview a janitor, a ghost, a man hiding from his past. He was walking out something else, something he hadn't been in years. Whole. At home, he carried Nia to her bed, tucked her in, watched her sleep. His phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. He opened it. A photo. Sarah Chen, the doctor he'd helped rescue from Sudan, standing with her daughter Lily. Both smiling. Both safe. The caption, because of you. Thank you, Shadow Wolf. Marcus stared at the photo for a long time. 2 little girls. One in Sudan. One in his apartment. Both alive because he'd chosen to act when others couldn't. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. He put the phone away, sat in the chair beside Nia's bed. Daddy? Her voice was sleepy, half awake. Yeah, baby. Tonight was fun. It was. Your friends are nice. Tank is funny. He is. Daddy. Yeah. I'm proud of you. Marcus's chest tightened. I'm proud of you too, baby. I know. She smiled, eyes still closed. But you never say you're proud of yourself. You should. What? Mrs. Patterson says people should be proud of who they are, not just what they do. Naya yawned. You should be proud of who you are, Daddy. You're really good. She drifted back to sleep. Marcus sat there in the darkness, listening to her breathe, thinking about her words. His whole life he'd defined himself by his missions, his achievements, his failures, the men he'd saved, the men he'd lost, the wife he'd buried, the career he'd abandoned. But Naya didn't see any of that. She saw her dad, the man who made her breakfast, who helped with homework, who held her when she was scared. That was enough for her. Maybe it could be enough for him too. Sunday morning arrived, soft and golden. Marcus woke early, made pancakes, let Nia sleep in. When she finally emerged, rubbing her eyes, the kitchen smelled like maple syrup and bacon. Daddy pancakes, with chocolate chips. You're the best daddy ever. I try. They ate together at the kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the windows. No rush, no pressure, just a father and daughter sharing a meal. Daddy. Yeah, baby. What are we going to do today? Marcus thought about it. The weekend stretched ahead empty and full of possibility. What do you want to do? Can we go to the park and get ice cream and maybe see a movie? All of that. It's Sunday. Sundays are for adventures. Marcus smiled. Adventures it is. They spent the day exactly as Nia planned. The park first swings and slides, and Nia teaching him some games she'd learned at school. Then ice cream, 2 scoops each eaten on a bench while watching pigeons fight over breadcrumbs. Then the movie, something animated with talking animals that Marcus didn't follow, but Nia loved. By evening, they were exhausted in the best possible way. Walking home, Nia held his hand. Her grip was strong despite her small fingers. Daddy. Yeah, baby. This was the best day ever. Better than the gala. Way better. The gala had too many grown-ups. She wrinkled her nose. And the food was weird. Marcus laughed. Fair point. Daddy. Yeah. Are you going to stay at the hotel, with Victoria? I think so. Why? Because you seem happy there. Happier than when you were cleaning floors. Marcus stopped walking. Looked at his daughter. You notice that? I notice everything. She shrugged. You used to come home tired and sad. Now you come home tired and happy. That's different. 9 years old. Saw more than most adults. Yeah, baby. I'm happier now. Good. You deserve to be happy. So do you. I already am. She grinned. I have you. They walked the rest of the way home in comfortable silence. That night, after Nia was asleep, Marcus sat on the couch with a cup of coffee. His phone buzzed. Text from Victoria. Thank you for last night, for everything. See you Monday. He typed back, see you Monday. Then he set the phone aside, looked around the apartment. Small, worn, paint peeling in the corners. Water stain on the ceiling from a leak 3 years ago. But it was home. Their home. Keisha had never seen it. She'd died before they moved here, before everything changed. But sometimes late at night, Marcus could feel her presence, in the warmth of the apartment, in Nia's laugh, in the way the light hit the windows at sunset. She was gone. But she wasn't gone. She lived on in their daughter, in the values they'd shared, in the love that death couldn't erase. I miss you, Marcus whispered to the empty room. Every day. But I'm okay now. We're okay. No answer came. None was expected. But somewhere, somehow, he felt her smile. Monday morning. 7:45 a.m. Marcus walked through the lobby of the Grandview, head high, shoulders back. Staff members greeted him by name. Some shook his hand. A few asked about Nia. He wasn't invisible anymore. Wasn't a ghost. He was seen. Known. Respected. It still felt strange. Probably always would. Victoria met him at the elevator. Good weekend. The best. Ready for another week. Ready as I'll ever be. They rode up together. Partners now. Something neither had expected. At the executive floor, Victoria spoke. The board approved your consulting arrangement with Colonel Reeves. Part-time, remote, whatever you need. How did you know about that? She called me. Wanted to make sure it wouldn't conflict with your work here. Victoria smiled. I told her you could do both in your sleep. I don't know about that. I do. She touched his arm. You're remarkable, Marcus. The world needs more of what you have. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed. Mrs. Patterson. Nia's off to school. She said to tell you she loves you and to save lots of people today. Marcus smiled. Typed back, tell her I'll try. He put the phone away, looked at Victoria. Let's get to work. The day unfolded like any other. Meetings, security briefings, protocol reviews, crisis prevention. But nothing about it felt ordinary. Because Marcus Williams wasn't hiding anymore. He was living, fully, openly, without apology. A soldier who'd found peace. A father who'd found purpose. A man who'd learned that the strongest thing you can do is let yourself be seen. At 4:15 p.m. he walked out of the Grandview. Right on schedule. Nia would be waiting. The sun was warm on his face. The city hummed around him. He thought about everything that had happened. The firing, the helicopter, the rescue, the battle with Harrison, the gala. 6 weeks that changed everything. Or maybe they hadn't changed anything at all. Maybe they'd just revealed what was always there. A hero hiding in plain sight. A father fighting for his daughter. A good man trying to do right in a complicated world. That's who Marcus Williams had always been. That's who he would always be. His phone buzzed. Nia. Daddy, hurry up. Mrs. Patterson made cookies and I want to show you my art project, and Tyler ate glue again. Marcus laughed, started walking faster. The shadows were still there. They always would be. But so was the light. And the light was winning. Some people spend their whole lives searching for purpose, for meaning, for something worth fighting for. Marcus Williams had found his. Not in medals or missions or military glory. In a 9-year-old girl who saw him for exactly who he was. A man who showed up, who stayed, who loved without condition. A father. A hero. Not because he was fearless, but because he was afraid, and he did it anyway. The walk home took 12 minutes. The longest and shortest walk of his life. Nia met him at the door, arms wide, smile wider. Daddy. He lifted her up, held her close. Let her chatter about cookies and art projects and Tyler's glue addiction. And in that moment, surrounded by the chaos and joy of ordinary life, Marcus Williams knew the truth. This was the mission that mattered. This was the battle worth fighting. This was the victory that would last forever. A father and his daughter. Home. Together. Where they belonged. Some heroes wear uniforms and carry medals. Some heroes save the world. But the greatest heroes are the ones who show up day after day for the people who need them most. Marcus Williams was that kind of hero. And his daughter knew it. That's all that mattered. That's everything that mattered.